Police in Maryland making an arrest in the disappearance and murder of 19-year-old Dacara Thompson. The suspect, a man in the country illegally, who was in federal custody earlier this year. Fox 5's Bob Barnard live in Bowie tonight with the latest from police. Bob?
Yeah, hey there, Marina. Behind me is the house where police say Dacara Thompson was murdered. It's on Cambridge Drive here in Bowie. The suspect living with other relatives who say he has a drinking problem, a drug problem, and they say they told police they heard a woman's voice in his bedroom that night. The people who live in this neighborhood tell us they are stunned by this news.
This is a nice family community, and, you know, we don't hear about stuff like this, but it's very distressing, and I'm just so sorry for the family.
The suspect is 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez-Mendez, now facing first and second-degree murder charges, said to be from Guatemala and in the country illegally. Police say Hernandez-Mendez murdered Dacara Thompson inside his bedroom in this house. Investigators not saying how she was killed or what happened inside the home leading up to her murder.
So this is a young woman who dedicated part of her young life to serving others. And I want that to ring home to all of you that this is a good young woman.
Every disappearance begins with a moment, a simple decision, a familiar routine, an ordinary night that suddenly changes everything. For 19-year-old Dacara Thompson, that moment came on the night of August 22, 2025. A recent high school graduate with a bright future, Dakara never returned home after leaving her family to run a quick errand. What followed would shock her community and leave a family searching for answers that no one should have to seek. Dacara Thompson had just finished high school at St. Charles High and was described by her friends and family as kind, ambitious, and deeply passionate about helping others. She spent her summer interning with a non-profit organization, dedicating herself to community service. Her family remembers her as gentle but independent, full of dreams and plans for the future. On that night, Dakara told her father she was going to get gas. "I should be back soon. I love you too. Good night," she said, words that would be the last they ever heard from her. The next day, Dakara didn't return. Her worried family filed a missing persons report. Investigators immediately began reviewing surveillance footage in the area. One clip stood out. Around 3 a.m., Dakara is seen walking toward a black SUV. She enters the vehicle willingly, and in that instant, she vanished. Phone tracking later revealed that the vehicle traveled to a residence in Bowie, Maryland. This discovery became the first concrete lead in what was quickly becoming a high-profile missing persons investigation. Over the next several days, investigators pieced together a timeline of Dakara's final hours. Surveillance, phone records, and witness statements created a chilling picture. Authorities discovered that the SUV was linked to 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez-Mendez, a Guatemalan national living in the U.S. illegally. At Hernandez-Mendez's residence, authorities found what would become critical evidence: blood-like stains on a mattress, a fingernail matching one missing from Dakara, and strands of her hair. Additionally, suspected blood was discovered in the passenger seat of the SUV. Every piece of evidence pointed to a horrific truth: Dakara had been murdered. On August 31st, 8 days after she disappeared, Dakara's body was found off Route 50 in Anne Arundel County. She had suffered multiple skull and facial fractures. For her family, the discovery confirmed their worst fears. A young life full of potential had been taken, and the grief was overwhelming. Authorities quickly arrested Hernandez-Mendez, who now faced first- and second-degree murder charges.
Yeah, good morning. Hugo Hernandez-Mendez will face a judge for a bond hearing 1:15 this afternoon. The court will determine if he should remain behind bars. The 35-year-old is now charged with first and second degree murder. Now, county officials tell us that he is originally from Guatemala. He's been living in the country illegally. Investigators believe he killed Dacara Thompson inside his Bowie home early the morning of August 23rd, then drove her body to Route 50 between Route 424 and 97 in Annapolis and threw her over a bridge. The court documents show Hernandez-Mendez told police he was at the Galaxy nightclub on University Boulevard. That's across the street from where Dakara was seen on surveillance video getting in his black SUV. Now, he claims he was supposed to meet his ex-girlfriend but never did. He denied any involvement in Dakara's murder and then asked for a lawyer. Now, nonprofit Prince George's County, that's where Dakara worked, releasing a statement saying in part, quote, "We are devastated, hurt, saddened, and angry by this tragic and senseless loss. Our hearts and prayers are with Dakara's family and loved ones during this unimaginable time." Now, U.S. Park Police, we learned, arrested Hernandez-Mendez back in April on a DUI charge. Prince George's County Executive Aisha Braveboy telling us he was not under an ICE detainer, and the federal government made the decision to release him pending his trial. Now, investigators have not said how Dakara was killed. We do know that a GoFundMe set up by her family with hopes of hiring a private investigator at the time has now reached more than $25,000, which the family says will now go towards funeral costs for Dakara. Of course, we'll be inside the courtroom. We'll let you know what happens later this afternoon. Back to you.
All right, Randy,
He was held without bond as investigators continued to build their case. As the investigation unfolded, questions arose about how this tragedy could have been prevented. Hernandez-Mendez had been arrested months earlier for DUI, yet no immigration hold was placed despite his undocumented status. Authorities now faced scrutiny for what many saw as a failure of the system to prevent a known danger from harming others. Dakara's mother expressed profound heartbreak and frustration. "We may not be here today if they did what they were supposed to do," she said. Her words highlighted a painful reality. This was not just a story of one young woman's death, but of systemic gaps that failed to protect her.
I would like to thank the PG County State's Attorney's Office for the great service that they've been providing. I just want justice served for my daughter.
How are you guys doing? How's the family doing right now?
Is, as good as a family could be under these circumstances, so not so good. We're trying to maintain.
Tell us a little bit about your daughter. She was 19, just getting started, a young lady out of high school. Tell
Yes,
us about her, please.
my daughter, she had just turned 19 years old prior to this unfortunate circumstance. She was working under Westmore's Maryland Year Service Corps option, whatever it's called, program. She had just completed a year-long internship in which she was very successful. She did a great job. She was a kind of an outgoing, soft-spoken, kind young lady. She was a free spirit. She was a good girl. She was a good kid. So there's been a lot of people disparaging her character on social media and things as such. Please don't believe everything you see. Don't believe everything you hear. Out of respect for the family and us grieving, please, approach everything with grace. We would appreciate that.
Ma'am, do you have any thoughts about this notion that this guy was arrested by Park Police and released back in April?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
This man, Mr. Hernandez-Mendez,
Yes.
was arrested by the United States Park Police for drunk driving in April 25th on the BW Parkway. He was subsequently released. There was no check of his immigration status or anything like that. There were no warrants at the time, no detainers. But he was in federal custody. And then he was released, and he is in the country without proper documentation, and now they've filed.
I'm very disappointed, finding that out now, because we may not be here today if they did what they were supposed to do.
Is there any indication that the victim may have known this person or crossed paths
Let me again say that I just want to be clear, and out of respect for the family as well, anything, any questions regarding the nature of the investigation would be harmful to our investigation at this particular point. So I want to make sure that we don't delve into any of that information. And I will say, you asked a question earlier. As always, there'll be an autopsy that's performed as a part of the investigation.
Last questions, Katie.
Carmen, and then a follow-up from Madam State's Attorney. The family often has a long journey after a crime like this happens. They have to relive the trauma as the case moves forward, and the victims have to outlive the crime itself. Is the family prepared for what's about to happen in the coming months, the grueling work of retelling the story, working with investigators, everything that's to come?
That's a tough question. That's a tough question because we know it's going to be extremely hard. We just ask that everybody pray for our strength through the process.
And Madam State's Attorney, the DC U.S. Attorney has blamed Maryland for crime in the district and for guns coming into the county. Have you seen any change recently given the surge in the district just across the border in Maryland, or anything that has been different after the national troops have been in the district?
All I'll say to that is that we continue to work with our law enforcement partners, both in Prince George's County and in the district, to make sure that that we're protecting the residents of this county. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming.
Dakara's family remembers her not just for her achievements, but for the warmth she brought to those around her. Friends spoke of her generosity, her determination, and her unwavering desire to make the world a better place. In the days following her disappearance, vigils were held, social media campaigns launched, and communities came together to demand justice. Yet through the grief, her family continued to plead for calm and clarity, asking the public to approach everything with grace as the legal system took its course. Hernandez-Mendez waived his right to a formal reading of charges and remains detained without bond. A preliminary hearing has been scheduled, and authorities are preparing for trial. A federal detainer from ICE is now in place, but the legal process will be long and complex. Dakara's family continues to watch closely, seeking justice not just for her death, but for accountability for the systemic failures that may have contributed to it. Dacara Thompson's story is a stark reminder of how quickly life can change and how fragile safety can be. It is a story of a young woman's dreams cut short, of a grieving family searching for answers, and of a system struggling to protect the most vulnerable. Her life, though brief, left a lasting impact. Her memory endures in the hearts of those who loved her, and in the urgent calls for justice that continue to echo. Dacara Thompson will not be forgotten, and her story serves as a sobering reminder of the need for vigilance, compassion, and accountability. As the investigation continues and the legal process unfolds, the hope remains that justice will be served. For Dakara, for her family, and for communities everywhere, her story demands more than remembrance. It demands change. This was the tragic story of Dacara Thompson, a young life full of promise taken far too soon.